Anytime I'm giving a presentation or I'm kicking things off, toughest thing sometimes is to actually start it.
When you look at blank page of whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
this is the toughest one, is that you need to get like inspired in the beginning and then it kind of starts flowing.
The first time when he gave a speech in front of 5,000 people, he came out and then ran back to the bathroom and threw up.
No matter how many times you've spoken, you always get a little bit of...
You always get that nervousness. I had an itch. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm in the Bay Area. I really want to go work for a startup. But what startup would hire me? I said, I don't care. I don't care. I'll mop the floors if I need to. People called me crazy because they had a really good job. I was at Cisco.
When I think about Syed today, I can't imagine this guy doing anything other than sales.
But then we come here and we're sitting on
gold mine. The proof that this is so superior is that even years and years later, there's really nobody who has successfully copied, even copying, right?
The solution we had built is so flexible. We pretty much didn't have to do anything to fit in AI.
The idea of integration of network plus these other services have always succeeded.
And the platform that we have built at Alkira, I think is the only platform in the industry which solves all the connectivity problems.
Now this is very, very grassroots game changing, what we're talking about here.
I still don't know if rest of the industry clearly understand what actually as a service means and how to build it.
From my perspective, this technology is a game changer.
I think the human way of configuring is probably completely going to vanish. I don't think it's by accident. It was strategic.
They love the solution. I get phone calls and go, why are you guys are not just adopted everywhere? I think sometimes what I've noticed is anytime I'm giving a presentation or I'm kicking things off, the toughest thing sometimes is to actually start it.
Yeah. I think it's the same with any creative process. When you look at blank page of whatever you're doing, this is the toughest one, is that you need to get like inspired in the beginning and then it kind of starts flowing.
What is it? Is it just like the initial nervousness? Or
there's a term for that. It's called, I think it's called like writer's block.
Oh, really?
Where writers, like professional writers, right? People who do this for a living and write like books, right? Not like some amateur writing guy.
Yeah.
They have this writer's block where they sometimes find themselves in a situation where they're like, I don't have the karma, I don't have the energy, I don't have the creativity to start writing this. Even people who produce like pretty significant content get. So it's a pretty known...
It's an actual thing.
It's an actual thing.
But writing is slightly different, right? But when it comes to recording and speaking, I thought it's only us like novice, presenters who get into this.
Yeah.
I was watching one of Adam Sandler's interview. He was saying that even now when he does stand-up comedy, the first 1-2 minutes, like he's nervous, and after that he settles down, and then he has all the flow.
So does he have any recommendations on how to get that started and
how to
get rid of that nervousness? Or
he said, don't think too much, just go get started. After like a minute or so, you settle down, and then you keep going. So it's the same thing for everybody.
Was it like Chambers, like the master of this? Because he used to like, his presentation skills is just phenomenal.
But when he was retiring, I don't know if you went to the Levi Stadium. When Chambers retired, right, the felicitation, the last day, it was in Levi Stadium. I think there were like some 5,000 people. And he was giving a speech, his family, kids, grandkids, everybody was there. And the guy is so energetic. He was like carrying both his grandkids and running up and down and stuff, right? He was saying that like the first time when he gave a speech in front of 5,000 people, he came out and then ran back to the bathroom and threw up. And then he settled down and again started talking about it. Like, some people are natural, but even then, like the initial jitters are...
I'll tell you one more thing that I know is that people who have been presenting for a long time, they still go through like this training presentation courses and stuff. They also like to watch your own video, like like games.
Yeah.
You watch your own game,
Yeah,
you
yeah, of
analyze your
course.
game.
Yeah.
So this is like a never ending. No matter how many times you've spoken, you always get a little bit of.
You always get that nervousness that you
Always,
start off
everybody.
with, and then after that, once you get into the flow, and then
you
things
keep
are
going.
okay. Yeah.
But this time, so this should be pretty comfortable because this is like the stuff we've been naturally doing for a long time.
So
So it's,
I agree. We're talking about a topic that you're confident in,
Yes.
and a lot of times when you're talking about a topic that you don't know or you're not confident in, it becomes a bit of a challenge. So what is a topic? Why did we get here? And why did we want to start doing this? But did you want to say something before we get started?
No, I think that we should get we share a lot of common work history
Yeah.
for years now. Like I've known you, Sayed, since 2000, since I joined Cisco the first time, since 2009.
You joined in 2009?
I joined 2009, so I've known you 16 years, right?
Yes.
I know Yusukrut since 2015, since I joined Viptela, right?
I'm not as old as you guys.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So
Did you know that though? We've known each other. We worked together.
Yeah,
for so
yeah.
long.
Yes.
I knew you both were in the same team.
We're in the same
reported to
team,
the
data
same
center
manager.
networking
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
So
I know.
yeah. So we've gone together. Sometimes I follow him. Sometimes he follows me.
Yes.
Right. I mean, he kind of. I went to sales first and convinced him to go to sales because he was
Yes.
he was being given promises to stay in advanced services and to
Which is
get
post-
promotion
which is
and
post-sales.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Get some promotion and things like that. And at that time, I jumped ship into sales, and I told him like, don't believe all of these promises until you get something. And I believe at that time they were promising something in the future, like we will get to it, like, but nothing right now. And I told him like, don't. So that was the time where he followed me.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because when I think about Syed today, I can't imagine this guy doing anything other than sales. Right? It seems to me like as though he was like built to do sales.
Born for that.
Born for that.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were,
But I have to mention one story out of that during that incident. I think a week later he knew I was moving over, but he had a farewell dinner at that time. Our same team to a farewell dinner.
okay.
And I attended that farewell dinner, and I gave him the hardest time ever. I was the one, and he couldn't say anything because it was supposed to be a hush hush thing, and I was like, "How can you be such a backstabber? How can you leave the team like this?" And he's looking at me like, "Oh, I hate you right now."
Yes. But,
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think all three of us have been part of Viptela. Then we worked closely during Viptela time. Then when we went to Cisco, David and I were
But
part
you
of the
started
same
off as
team.
development, though, right?
Yeah, I was in engineering when I started my career.
Yeah.
I was a coder, but I think
You didn't like it that much.
I enjoyed initially, but after a couple of years, like I started getting bored, and I wanted to see like the biggest problem, at least back then, I felt was you're developing something, but you didn't know what impact it is making out in the world, right? Because you're not exposed to the customers and the customer side of the story. I didn't understand that. That's why when I moved to the customer facing side, it was a lot more interesting and exciting, understanding, oh, this is exactly what we're doing and this is how it's making a difference in the real world, right? So that's the exciting
But I always
part.
want to know, when you were a developer, the view of networks, enterprise networks, did you have that, or was it a very more of a narrowed view, and did it expand later? Or
It's a very funny story. So when I started my career as a multicast dev tester.
okay,
So I ended up doing multicast for almost 7 to 8 years.
oh
oh
wow.
wow,
And all along, I was thinking and I was told that multicast is one of the complex protocols very few people understand, which is true. Like even now, when you
yes,
think about it,
yeah,
in
It is.
Alkira or
It is.
like in
Yeah.
Viptela time, there are hardly like one or two who understood multicast, right?
yeah,
So I was in that shell where, oh, I'm doing something
unique.
like so niche that only few people understand it, right? And then when I started doing something for another spin-in called Insiemi, and we were working on BGP.
Right.
And that's when we slowly started getting exposed to customers, and I understood, oh, No one uses multicast.
That's why no one understands it.
Yeah. And I was like, what was I doing 8 years? And then, sometimes if you're in the shell and not get exposed to it, a lot of times you think you're doing the greatest thing, but
Right.
actually it is nothing, right? So
How
that
did
was
you
an
end up in Insemi? It was a pretty unique set of folks who went there.
Yeah, back then, when in Cisco we had this, I believe it was core business unit,
Okay.
and all the protocols were developed under this unit,
Okay.
right? When Insemi came in, they didn't have a lot of protocols developed.
Okay.
So then they sent bunch of us from protocols team to do like BGP, multicast, and so on and so forth. So that's how it was a spin-in which came in to Cisco, but we were developing a lot of protocols for them, like BGP and multicast and whatever.
Different backgrounds,
Yeah.
but all three of us ended up at Viptela.
Yeah.
Together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, we came to Viptela from the sales organization,
Yeah.
right, within Cisco, right? So you went first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had an itch. I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm in the Bay Area. I really want to go work for a startup, but what startup would hire me, right? What skill am I bringing that's unique? That's others don't have, and there's probably hundreds of thousands of probably ASEs, right? And startups only need in the beginning, especially one,
Right.
two,
Yeah.
right? And you want to join. I wanted to join at that time, and then that was a time where NSX and ACI were just kind of starting to,
heating up.
And there was also, what was that other company, Plum Grid or something like that?
Plum Grid was there too.
There was also a company called Plum Grid or something like that, right? Too. And for some reason, when I used to look into that space, I was like, I don't know, there's something about it. Where's the business value, right? Where's the ROI here? Because you still have the data center, you're still buying the same switches, nothing is changing, right? Like, so it's just a cool technology why people are adopting it, or anyway, I mean, at that time I was like, and then also this, SDN with this it's kind of, I felt like ship had sailed on starting at these new companies. And then this SD-WAN was coming up. Like, I was like, what is SD-WAN? I don't even know what is SD-WAN. So then I ended up at Viptela, and I remember we used to go and talk to customers, and they were like, I've heard of SDN, never heard of SD-WAN.
Right.
This was what must have been 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
When I joined. When did you join?
I joined Viptela in 2015.
15,
right?
Okay.
But before that, so I did go through this whole SDN motion, being in Cisco, because with late 2000s, beginning 2010s, right? That's when a lot of kind of new wind came into networking and SDN, and everybody thought that SDN is going to be it's going to kill networking vendors, and everything is going to become open flow and things like that, right? So so it was a lot of that kind of hype in there that I was kind of associated with a little bit, right, from the sales side of things. And then again, the Viptela opportunity. Of course, I knew the founders for a long time, and then opportunity came to join technical marketing, right, which is what I did. I joined in 2015, and eventually after 2 years, we went back, and so I left Cisco to go to Viptela, right. We both did, and then went back to Cisco 2.5 years later.
What from your perspective, what was the biggest thing that made SD-WAN become the new WAN?
Yeah,
it is. I mean, when we talk about WAN, that's what SD-WAN.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, from my standpoint, the way that SD-WAN came and kind of reinvigorated that entire market that was pretty stagnant for quite some time, dominated by MPLS, dominated by telcos, and then side by side you have this internet getting momentum and growing, but there's really no business use of it, right? So SD-WAN didn't really appear out of nowhere. There were SD-WAN-like technologies out there from multiple vendors, Cisco and others, right? But nobody ever kind of packaged this as this business solution that could actually go and rival the dominance of MPLS as a transport. And SD-WAN really gave that option to enterprises go and legitimately look at SD-WAN and hybrid networking as something that is legitimately can be used for business connectivity, right? It really broke the status quo that if you need business connectivity, you need MPLS, right? And that was the biggest contribution that SD-WAN really brought into this, is how it legitimized the use of internet with automation and simplicity, all the stuff that SD-WAN brought into this, zero-touch provisioning and all kind of bells and whistles that got bundled into this. But fundamentally, it's legitimizing the use of internet with simplicity to make it simplicity and automation to make it
but using
business
the internet,
ready.
using the internet, what, for the sake of just it being cheaper as a transport, or
I think, like, before SD-WAN, like David mentioned, there were a lot of talks on SDN,
yeah,
right?
right.
And there was like so many discussions, and even within Cisco, and there were a lot of companies out there. The talk was mostly on segregating control and data plane, right? And
Yes.
there were earlier it was what do I say? All the protocols ran as a single process, and they wanted to split it. Like, BGP runs as its
Right.
own process, OSPF
Right.
runs as its own process, and then every
Okay.
protocol runs. That was mostly the discussion with
Uh-huh.
SDN, segregate control and data plane,
Yes.
and every protocol runs as its own protocol,
Why?
as its own process.
What problem was that solving?
So when you need to upgrade, you
Uh-huh.
can just upgrade OSPF bundle. You can upgrade only BGP bundle, right?
Okay.
Like, you don't need to touch other protocols.
Yes.
And the idea was, again, to reduce the downtime and like faster upgrades, and you don't.
This was on the WAN CPEs you're talking about, or
Like, the initial SDN sort of discussion
SDN
was,
discussions in the data
yeah,
centers to minimize outages.
correct.
Mainly, you're saying.
No,
Or
yeah,
was it
like,
minimize?
faster upgrades and segregate control and
Okay.
data plane. That way, like,
That
if
was
you
a
upgrade
challenge in the
control
data
plane,
centers.
data
Yeah.
plane doesn't get impacted.
Yeah.
There are a lot of discussions around this, right? But I think SD-WAN took it up another notch. Of course, in case of Viptela as well, we segregated control and data plane, but we also liberated and eliminated the dependency on the underlay, right? Before, predominantly, when you look at DMVPN, the underlay was mostly MPLS, right? With SD-WAN, you could use any underlay.
And by underlay, you mean like the actual physical circuits?
Exactly, like,
you make
internet.
that. So the benefit to organizations, if you can make that agnostic, then they can get whatever's available
Whatever is
in that
available.
area
I
and
mean,
leverage it.
it would give you flexibility. Like,
Yeah.
if you have multiple underlays built in, you can
Yeah.
use the best underlay at any given
Yeah.
point of time.
Yeah.
And also cost savings, right? If it is not
Yeah.
mission critical, why do you need MPLS, right? You
Yeah.
could just use internet.
Yeah.
And then for all remote locations, like 5G was an option,
Yeah.
right? So it kind of liberated
Yeah.
corporates from depending on MPLS or a single circuit.
Mhm.
That's one thing, but I think SD-WAN also made the deployment and management super simple, because before
Easier.
SD-WAN, I don't believe there was like so much importance to telemetry and visibility.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I guess it was, but
at least,
yeah.
like, Cisco had all the big routers and switches,
Yeah.
but we never saw anything that was
It's
developed.
so like probably
Management
individual.
plane
Yeah.
didn't exist, right?
Mm.
But SD-WAN gave that management plane where
Mm.
configuring and managing routers became
That's a good
easy.
point, maybe.
And
Yeah.
zero trust was another big area, right? Before, if you had to bring up a branch,
Yeah.
someone had to go physically prep and do everything. You couldn't ship the box and have
Zero trust, you mean like not the zero trust we talk about today? You mean zero touch provisioning?
sorry, not zero trust, it's zero touch provisioning, right?
Right.
Yeah, like
Zero
zero
touch.
touch provisioning,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you could ship out a
'Cause you
box
mean
and anybody could bring it up,
the
right?
truck roll was a problem.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that was a huge issue, right?
Yeah.
SD-WAN solved all these, and these were big problems where it felt as though networking hasn't evolved. With
Yes.
SD-WAN, it felt okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly, out of nowhere, we went
Yeah.
like 2 decades forward.
Yeah. I mean, but at that time, I think the data gravity had a lot to do with it too, right? Applications that were being consumed were moving to SaaS, right? And a lot of internet based. We had in the Viptela, I remember one of our customers was saying that when he did an assessment at their sites, 90% of their traffic was bound to the internet, but obviously they were connecting. Their internet was serviced through their data center.
Right.
So the branch would
Yes.
go to the data center, and they would go out to the internet. So now they're looking at this MPLS circuit and going, why am I taking the traffic all the way to the data center to go out when I can just
Right.
locally exit the internet here? So
I think that's a great point. That's another
yeah,
big advantage SD-WAN brought into market.
Yeah. And moving forward, I think what you mentioned about data gravity, if you think about data gravity and maybe like application gravity, right? If you move past SD-WAN into what happens today or what happens in the last decade, right? It's really the cloud is becoming the center of gravity, right? Even when we talk about the AI stuff, it's still heavily reliant on cloud, even though it's not exclusively to cloud, but there is a reliance on cloud, which is how the next evolution got born, which is what brings us here in this company now.